Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you again. I'm Leslyn Keith. I'm president of the board for the Lipedema project, and I'm here with my friend and colleague, Catherine Seo. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, nice to see people.
Yeah, and usually you will see three of us here, but today it's two of us because Gail Straker, our head of our coaching program, is on vacation. Do you
How
know
cool.
what lovely thing that she's doing? What
How
is Gail
cool.
doing?
She's
I
going
know.
on a cruise.
She's on a
She's
cruise.
on a cruise.
She's giving up being here with us in order to be on a cruise. I
Can
didn't
you
even know.
picture that? I can't even imagine it.
So, and she is staying out of. She's not being in touch, and we think that is really good. So, we're going to do our best to have a really good what's new and coming up with lipedema with you without Gail is going to be very difficult, but we're going to do our best.
Oh, Adriana's here. We were looking for you last week. Hi, Adriana. You
From Brazil.
yeah, from Brazil. Like you Adriana, you had emailed me and we were looking for you last week. So welcome. We're so glad you're here. I just want to point out because I think it's a moment of transformation. The new sign is on air. It was just delivered just before we went on air, and I thought my mentor Jen Lerner, Jen Lehner Media. I was on a Facebook Live with her the other day, and she had it, and I thought, oh my God, I always learn something from her. So I ordered one, and so from now on, we're going to have on air, so we're broadcasting.
Yeah, what's new and coming up with lipedema is on the air.
Uh, oh, Adriana said that's why we didn't find her last week. She said something happened and she couldn't come. Well, I'm glad you're here today. We're glad you're
And
here.
I'm trying to remember what Adriana had emailed us about, but I just because she is from Brazil, I have to point out that one of our favorite physicians is from Brazil. That's Dr. Alexandre Amato, and he does a lot of stuff with keto or carbohydrate restriction with his patients with lipedema, and we think he's pretty spectacular. He did present for us at our last virtual symposium that was held last October. So you guys are very lucky down there in Brazil to have him.
Yeah,
And,
really.
and
And
Maria is here from Idaho.
she says she's holding down the fort for Gail,
That's right,
which
because
is
Gail
good.
is usually in Idaho at home.
Yep, yep, yep. And what else? Who else? Oh,
Be
and
sure.
Brenda says this is her first time. Welcome,
Oh,
Brenda.
welcome, Brenda. Welcome. And anybody else who's here, be sure to post, say hello. If you have any questions, things you want us to address in the short time we're here together, we would be happy to answer your questions. We always have a couple things that we want to tell you about that's new and coming up with lipedema, but we would love to address any of your questions that you would like us to also.
Yeah, really. Okay. I want to let people know that this Sunday, which is March 6th, wherever you are in the world, is World Lymphedema Day. And the Lymphatic Education and Research Network is a wonderful, wonderful support organization for all of us with lymphatic disorders. And they really spearhead World Lymphedema Day. And we're doing a webinar that day. Now, we just finished a month long webinar series on self love, self acceptance, kindness, gentleness, love yourself. It was a fabulous webinar series. We had 14 webinars, and each one by our coaches or different experts. It was just fabulous. And so, what we're doing is on Sunday, we're going to take highlights from each one of the 14 webinars. So it's usually, a minute to 2 minutes, I think one is 2.5 minutes. They're short, but they give you sort of like juicy tidbits from each one of the webinars. And then we're going to be talking about the next project, which really sort of is part of this whole month-long learning to love yourself, called the Real You Project. So we'll be talking about that on Sunday, because that's coming up in March. Yeah.
And you are going to have the link to register for that March 6th webinar.
It is actually, I put it on the caption.
Okay.
So it is right on the caption above.
Okay,
There's
excellent.
2 things on the caption. The link to our symposium, which Leslie's going to talk about, because today is the last day to register for the super early bird special. So we have an early bird special, so there's still a discount, but because we really want to do something for those who are so close, who come all the time, who are part of our tribe, who are part of our, really the community that shows up here every week. So there's a super early bird special, and that's good only through tonight. But Leslie's going to tell you why you don't want to miss the symposium.
Yeah. And I want to just say something else about the webinar series that Catherine was talking about, that we're having the recap for in a free webinar on Sunday, March 6th, is that those 14 webinars for that webinar series was all in the month of February. It was incredible. It wasn't spread out over a year. No, it was over the month of February. And also, it was also a fundraiser for the Lipedema Project, a nonprofit organization that does research. And we were raising funds for a research project that we are trying to get off the ground, about the voices of lipedema, what it is like to live with lipedema. And so it was just an action-packed month, and also a fundraiser for the Lipedema Project. And I also would like to point out that Judy Morgan is here from Australia. Irene Hill is here from New Zealand. Ruth Goss says hi. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, isn't it fun to have people from all over the world? I also want to just let everybody know we're going to end up, well, once we're done, which is after Sunday, but we raised $4,000 for the research project. I was like blown away. We went through we had a meeting this morning and sort of catch up. It was $4,128. What generosity. It was just so wonderful. We just requested a $14, $1 each webinar donation, and that all of that goes directly towards the research project, which is wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And hi, Nicole from Vermont. Thanks for being here. And so Catherine was talking about that today is the last day for the super early bird prize for our symposium, which is coming up April 29 to 30. That's our ketogenic revolution for lipedema and lymphedema virtual symposium, followed by a one-day post-symposium workshop on the carnivore diet. And so it's actually going to be 3 days of a virtual symposium, all recorded. So don't worry if you cannot be there live. But if you can be there live, it's wonderful because you can interact with the vendors, our sponsors, and all of the speakers and each other. So we would love to have you there. Let me tell you about our lineup is pretty spectacular. I am just opening up my list so I don't forget anybody, because we have an incredible speakers that are coming. We're going to have Amy Berger, who's a nutritionist, and Dr. Eric Westman, who has a keto medicine clinic at Duke in the US. Brian Lenskis, another physician who uses keto in his practice. We have one of our coaches, Carrie Reedy, who is a nutritionist from Australia, who's going to be talking about keto for all ages, for your whole family. Many of you may have heard about Megan Ramos, who works with Dr. Jason Fung on fasting. And she and Gail Straker, our head of our coaching program, are going to be talking about fasting for lipedema and lymphedema. We have Dr. Brett Scher, who is with Diet Doctor. He's going to be talking about cholesterol and heart health if you want to do a ketogenic diet. We have our wonderful colleague from Germany, Dr. Gabrielle Ferber, who has been using keto in her clinic for her patients with lipedema for over 13 years. And she's just going to talk about her success with that. Many of you may have heard of Dr. Paul Mason, who is a physician in Australia. And he's going to be talking about how not just because a food is called keto doesn't mean it's necessarily good for you, and figuring out which foods are going to be okay for you. So that's going to be really interesting. Magdalena Jerzak, a nutritionist from Poland, who works with women with lipedema and has been for some time. And she's going to talk about something that we haven't discussed yet, and that's the intestinal flora and fauna that we need to have a good microbiome. And so she's going to be talking about SIBO, small intestine bacteria overgrowth. And she thinks it might be associated with lipedema. So that's going to be so interesting. Siobhan Huggins, many of you know her, a young researcher, and found out recently that she has lipedema herself and has been finding out really interesting information, putting things together for us that we hadn't put together. And so she's going to give some great talks about fat fibrosis in lipedema, but she's also going to be talking about the carnivore day because she has an interesting perspective on the carnivore diet. We have Amber O'Hearn, which you may know about, that she's been doing a carnivore diet for over 10 years. And so she has a conference that's usually held in Boulder, Colorado. We hope that they'll be able to hold it again someday, just on the carnivore diet. So she's going to be talking to us. And then one of our favorite parts of the conference is that we have patient panels. We have people that are living with lipedema, lymphedema, or both, and they are going to be talking to us about their experience with nutrition and how that has assisted them, transformed them. And so those are always really interesting presentations as well. We also have a lot of fabulous sponsors. Catherine, do you want to speak to the sponsors?
Sure thing. We have Lymphopress, who's coming back. Lymphopress is a pneumatic pump that most of us use some form of, and I happen to use Lymphopress myself personally, and I really like it. And so I'm so glad that they're coming to sponsor us. And then we have Own Your Labs, Dave Feldman, who's an expert in the whole cholesterol question with keto, what it is, how it impacts us. He and Siobhan Huggins, who Leslyn mentioned, is coming. They started their own company called Own Your Labs, where you can order your labs online, go to a local place where you get your blood drawn, and they monitor, track, and you have much more ease of use of your own labs. Leslyn, you've gotten labs done with.
I use them a lot because, I mean, for me, getting a blood draw doesn't hurt. Some people it does hurt. And so I like just going it for, I wonder what my vitamin D levels are. And so I go get a blood draw. And so I do use Own Your Own Labs for whenever I am just curious about something.
And so they're one of our sponsors. Then we have Keto Chow. I happen to be, listen, here's the thing. The people who sponsor us, we love them, not because they sponsor us, but because we use and love their products. And then we ask them to sponsor us. So Keto Chow is one of them. Keto Chow is a meal replacement. So it's basically keto with a tablespoon of some kind of fat, usually MCT oil or something, and it makes like a shake. Except it actually now makes a frozen shake. So you're going to have to come to the symposium and watch the demo. Say it again.
A smoothie or an ice cream or something?
Like a smoothie.
Yeah.
It's like a smoothie or like ice cream. So
Yeah.
made with Keto Chow, totally keto. And something called ketogen, which is part of Medica nutrition. They make a a soluble fat substance that's like a powder that you can put in the Keto Chow and make one big thing. It's really amazing. So, and I'm trying to think of who I'm missing.
Natural wellness.
Oh yeah. Oh, how could I forget? Natural Wellness Boston. It's a funny thing, but you know, so many of us have pain along with our lipedema. That's why it's called painful fat syndrome. And so we've been exploring different options. Keto works to reduce quite a bit of pain. And in some cases, it reduces all of the pain. And in some cases, it reduces a percentage of the pain. And so, Natural Wellness Boston is organic CBD, and I can't say it. You probably can. Carbonoidal,
Cannabis.
yeah, whatever. It's
Yeah.
called CBD,
Yeah.
and it does help with the pain. We have a number of ladies. It's been so effective that we have a pain clinic twice a month where few people, not many, come and they meet with, his name is Brian Hayward. He is the person who runs the Natural Wellness Boston. So Brian can help, and he has a lot of women. So he's also sponsoring us. And I think, and Nutrition Network.
Yes.
Nutrition Network is, many of us have studied with Nutrition Network. It is the organization put together by Professor Timothy Noakes, who is like the grandfather, godfather, I don't know what to call him, guide for the
He's
keto
one
community.
of the most prominent physicians that is in this current wave, which they're calling the third wave with ketogenic nutrition. And mostly because, well, two things. One, he showed so much integrity that when he found out about the ketogenic diet and the damage that standard Western diet was doing to people's health, he ripped the pages out of his bestseller book, The Lore of Running, that talked about carb loading. And he ripped them out and he said, this is all wrong. So he had a lot of integrity and said, I know this is now wrong. But the other thing is that he was unjustly singled out by the medical body in his country. And they wanted to take his license away because he dared to talk about ketogenic and carbohydrate restriction nutrition. So he became known by the world when he fought that fight, and he won.
5-year trial, 5 years. And the verdict came down the day that Leslin and I were interviewing Professor Noakes for a summit that we did a number of years ago.
Yes.
Wasn't that was so amazing.
Pretty spectacular. Yeah.
He is one of the most knowledgeable, kindest, most compassionate, and as Leslin said, just very much in integrity. Because most doctors, when they found out that, well, his story, very briefly, is he was in his 50s. He was a distance runner. That's how he wrote The Lore of Running. He was a distance runner, did many, many half marathons and marathons, and he was pre-diabetic. And his father had died from diabetes. And he was like, what is going on? And that's how he finally figured it out. He actually, the way he tells the story is he found Dr. Eric Westman's book on, oh my God, what book was it?
It's a new Atkins for the new you. And he wrote, Eric Westman and Steve Finney and Jeff Bullock had written that book. Yes.
Yeah. And as soon as he put the pieces together, literally, he said, oh my God, I've been wrong. I've been wrong. How many doctors do you know would say that? And so as soon as he realized that, he really did do a 180-degree pivot. And he's been so instrumental in supporting the community globally. In fact, I say this with great appreciation. Leslin, and me too, but mostly Leslin, we're going to be presenting at their summit, their worldwide summit, which is the end of March.
Yeah, the World Nutrition Summit. If you want to Google that, that's going to be held virtually. And we're going to be speaking about lipedema and ketogenic nutrition.
Yep, and we have a discount code, so we will put it in the chat.
Yes, fantastic.
Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send out an email. If you're not already on our email list, make sure you get on our email list. You can go to Lipedema Simplified or Lipedema Project and just join the email list. And this coming week, I'm going to send out an announcement, and I'll give everyone the coupon code so you can get a discount.
Excellent. And just to address
the discounts.
Yes, she always does. I wanted to address a couple of things that came in on the chat. Hello to Alexis. And Brenda was asking about the registration for our conference, the Ketogenic Revolution for Lipedema and Lymphedema. She says, does the special price allow for the split payment that was available earlier? I am not sure what she's referring to. I know that you could register for the 2 days separate from the workshop, but I wasn't aware of a split payment.
Yeah, I'm looking right now.
Okay, so Brenda will get you that answer. And then Maria asks about, I get confused about the recent new alternative format used for meetings. I can't remember the name of it, not Zoom. Can you explain? And this is right now, it's just through our membership group, the tribe. We're using something called Circle instead of Facebook. We still are on Facebook, but we have this way of communicating with our membership, and it's called Circle. So if you are not part of our tribe, the membership tribe, then you wouldn't be using that. We do envision in the future that we will be using Circle for more of our, all of our public users as well. But at this time, all the public users still can go to our free websites. They are membership, meaning that you have to get permission to join. There's no cost. But that will continue to use Facebook. Did I say that correctly, Catherine?
Yeah, you did. Okay. There's no cost to join Circle. Circle will have a general population, general community space, but there's also spaces in Circle that are private, the way private Facebook groups are.
Yeah. But Maria, there's no reason you would know about that except if you were part of the tribe. So if you are a part of the tribe, please contact us to get more information about using Circle.
I just want to give a quick answer. Brenda, we have discounted it. The 3 days are $297, but right now you can get all 3 days for $197. So it's quite a good deal for anybody, but you have to sign up by tonight. And let me show you here it is. This is the link.
Okay.
Right here. And it's also right above, so you can sign up that way.
It's learn.lipedema-simplified.org/keto-revolution-2022. Easy. See, you can just type that in, right?
Well, I put it in the caption, so it's also
excellent. Just click on that.
So we need to wrap up because
really quick, I'm going to say hi to Nyla. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And Adriana from Brazil says she's inspired by Lipedema Simplified and the Lipedema Project. Started my keto diet 2 days ago. Well done. And I'm starting my conservative treatment with a colleague of Dr. Amato. Wonderful. Very excited about the possibility of finding a style of eating that's not only helps not only lipedema, but health in general. Good point. And Maria thanks us for the clarification. And Maria is on the tribe. So Maria, we will make sure that you get all the information. You know how to use Circle. Thank you for all of you that posted. This was a wonderful day. As usual, it goes by so fast, and we usually run over time. So sorry about that.
We have Siobhan, who we've talked about a couple times. She's working with us, and she's the co-director of the symposium with Leslin. She's about to do a webinar in 4 minutes.
Oh, yes, with Megan Ramos, we were just talking about. So she's going to be talking about lipedema and fasting with Megan Ramos's group. So that's, and I do have to say that when you look at the spectacular lineup we have for our symposium coming up, it's because of Siobhan. She knows all these people, and she made a lot of contacts and got these people to come to speak for us. So please join us. We hope to see you there.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks for being here. See you next week.